After I accompanied Xavier from nothing to a family fortune, Xavier's ex-girlfriend told me, "I will take Xavier back from you step by step." No. Did she skip the evolution class? Did she skip the evolution class? That's an animal thing to say. Turns out, man, I thought she was the only one left out of the history of human evolution. But not the other one. Don't linger. Subscribe to Wealthy Family Romance. Full text in one podcast to the end. Don't forget to press like. Leave a comment. Share. Subscribe. Turn on the little bell. The exciting story starts now. 7 days before the wedding. I was trying on wedding dresses when I swiped through Xavier's ex-girlfriend's tweets. Xavier had his fingers crossed with her. The caption, "Still in love." 3 minutes later, I swiped Xavier's response, "I want to keep obsessing with you." The official text announcing the reunion was pretty romantic. If I wasn't Xavier's wife, the lady at the bridal store saw me staring at my phone and didn't say anything for a long time, and asked, "Isla-san, but is there anything you're not happy with?" I looked up at myself in the glasses. In a white wedding dress. The wedding dress was custom-made according to my favorite model. I was really happy with it. That's why I took the picture and wanted to send it to Xavier. Who would have thought that my hand would slip and something ridiculous like this would happen? I barely managed to smile back at her. Something's come up. I got up and went to the promenade to call Xavier, and he hung up. Followed by a message from him. In a meeting. Yeah. Had gone on a business trip the day before yesterday. Said it was a very important project and he had to be there in person. Now it seems to be quite important. A few $100 million bed project. Xavier called me back an hour later. On the other end of the phone, his tone is gentle. Emo. What's the matter? From the tone of his voice, I could tell that he didn't know that his affair with his ex-girlfriend had already come to light. I've known Xavier for 7 years. From my 21 to 28 years old. I've accompanied him from nothing to where he is now the owner of 2 companies. Not exactly a wealthy family, but a prominent figure in A-Town. I first met Xavier when I graduated and was looking for a job. He was 3 years older than me and had already worked for 3 years when he came out to work on his own. The company had not been established for a long time and was short of people, especially for people like me, who were fresh out of the society and good at drawing cakes. He a cake. So that I have 7 years even if the drink to vomit. Rush program to catch up with the day and night. And even later a company opened a higher price to dig me. I have never thought of leaving, all the way from an intern to the CEO of the company, and I will fall in love with him. Is from a one-night stand. 2 years ago. During a drinking game. We both got drunk. When I woke up, he said, "Isla, I'll take care of it." I don't remember what kind of mood I was in at that time. It should be joyful. After all, I had been crushing on him for 3 years. It was easy to fall in love with him. He had the kind of face that makes people fall in love at first sight. We have also rushed to the program together to see the dawn of a city, accompanied by customers to drink and lie together over the vast starry sky wrapped under the earth, but also suffered together with the cold eyes of ridicule, demeaned and blocked. Once, in order to win a project, we drank with the client until the early hours of the morning. When we were going back, we passed by Central Plaza in a city. He stopped the car, dragged me to lie in the center of the square, and said to me with the smell of alcohol, Emo. One day, I will move the company building here. The average price of $100,000 in the aristocratic area. I laughed at him. Wash up and go to sleep. Right? I'm pretty sleepy. And am dreaming of everything. But he suddenly turned his head, looked at me seriously and said, "By the way, I'll buy you a luxury apartment here to honor you for not leaving me alone." When he looked at me, his eyes reflected the entire starry sky. The smile at the corner of his mouth almost burned his eyes, and his tone was so serious. I think it was that moment that I completely fell in love with him. The night we were together was also the celebration banquet for the establishment of Branch Company. At that time, he had already moved the company building to Central Plaza and rewarded me with a luxury apartment in Central Plaza. The company had grown from just 5 people to hundreds. At the celebration party, he took me by the shoulders and said, "If it wasn't for Isla, the company wouldn't be the size it is now, and I wouldn't be where I am today. Come on. Hey, race to Isla." There was an element of exaggeration in his words, but it was kind of true. In those years, when he couldn't hold on, it was me who accompanied him to get through it. Even the establishment of the Branch Company was made possible by me. I was the one who organized the financing, finding partners, and choosing the location. After the celebration banquet, he was so excited that he wanted to follow me home to talk about the company's development in the next 20 years. The result was that we talked in bed. When I woke up, I was apprehensive and hesitant when he said he was going to be in charge. He saw my hesitation and said, Emo, I like you for a long time, and can't find a girl like you who can stay with me for so long." After 2 years together, I knew he had an ex-girlfriend named Lila. She was the same age as me. She and Xavier were in a campus relationship, and she was Xavier's schoolmate. First love for each other. Talked for 3 years. After she graduated from college, she left the city. Xavier was not willing to go with her. They broke up peacefully. Speaking of which, the money Xavier initially used to start his company was actually the money he intended to spend on marrying Lila and buying a wedding house. This is what Xavier said when we were lying under the starry sky together after drinking too much. He said, "If I had married Lila then, I would be living the 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. corporate drone life right now." There was regret in the tone, but also candor. So, I never cared about her existence. Even more than a year ago, Lila suddenly came back to a city and secretly followed me on Weibo. I just gave her a follow in passing and didn't even mention it to Xavier. I thought Xavier and I were running in both directions. And so long ago, love. Adults. Who remembers Now it seems that I'm being punched in the face. I'm a man who believes what he sees. On the phone, I did not show down with Xavier. Hung up the phone, also sent the wedding photos to Xavier. Xavier said, "My Momo, it's so beautiful." I took his compliments, bought the nearest flight on that day, and flew to B City where Xavier was traveling on business. When I got off the plane and swiped through Twitter again, I saw Lilith's update, planning to hit up Trendy Spot. Coincidentally, I know that store. I just went there when I was with Xavier. A couple's restaurant. I took a cab and arrived just in time to witness Xavier giving Lila the crimson roses that the restaurant had prepared. The two of them were seated at the window seat. No need to get out of the car. You can see them at a glance. Lila in an aqua blue dress. Xavier in an aqua blue casual dress. Not blind can see. Is a couple dress. Xavier used to say that he hated couple photos the most. Childish. Now it seems. Not he feels childish. Only because I'm not the one he wants to accompany childish. I got off the car. leaned against a crooked tree on the side of the road to call Xavier. Or some unsteady standing. Xavier looked at his cell phone. Eventually hung up again and called me back. In a meeting. It's hard to describe my feelings at this moment. Angry. Sad. And even a little desperate. It took an effort to look up at the sky to suppress the tears that were about to fall down my face. It took me a while to calm my heart. I looked down at the wedding band that Xavier had given me not long ago, took it off, and threw it into the trash can next to me before sending him a picture of him having dinner with Lila. Let's come out after dinner and talk about the divorce. It was about 3 minutes before Xavier looked at his phone, because in those 3 minutes, Lila had pestered him to take a picture together. In 3 minutes, the two of them changed 8 poses, a 360-degree view of their affair. Yeah, Xavier and I got our license last month. It's just that the wedding is in 7 days. Xavier reads the message before panicking and looking sideways at me out the window. Hurriedly, he gets up, goes out the door, and runs towards me. Lila, unsure, saw him come out and followed with a sideways glance at me, a small smile flashing across her face before she followed Xavier out as well. Are you sure you have to be so diabolical about me, Xavier? Over the years in the workplace, I've experienced both cynicism and backstabbing. What haven't I experienced? I've always been able to accept them with a smile and solve them with ease. I think I have an excellent temperament and cultivation. But it took me a lot of effort to hold back my desire to growl at the sight of my husband and lover appearing together in front of me in a couple's outfit. It was then that Xavier noticed that Lila had followed him out. He turns his head. Lila, you go first. Lila didn't go, but still had to tee me. Isla, Mr. Xavier was talking to me about you just now. Don't get me wrong. Mr. Xavier and I just happened to meet here. Rather it was a misunderstanding. But when you left the house, you held a petal of crimson roses in your hand to declare your sovereignty over me. How afraid am I that I won't see that you're having an affair? I closed my eyes briefly, not wanting to talk to such a mistress without any moral fiber. I was afraid I would pull down my own moral ground. I looked at Xavier and said, You have 1 minute to get this unlucky thing out of my face. Lila, however, continued to tee me. Isla, how can you be like this? You're not educated at all. You don't even listen to explanations before defining us. You've got to be kidding me. I laughed back with exasperation. Indeed. It's no better than a leaky fish like you who sneaked away and hid by yourself when the human race evolved. Lila, me. If you've got nothing useful to say, go clean a toilet. Don't blather here. Lila's face was greener than the top of my head and eventually walked away. After Lila left, I re-entered the front couple's restaurant with Xavier. Hungry. Didn't want to keep looking for a place to eat. The score of being hurt by a scumbag can be settled slowly, but you have to take care of your own stomach. Over the years. For the company. Drank too much alcohol. Stomach problems. He can't be hungry. And when he is hungry, he gets a stomach ache. Xavier originally wanted to find a new place to eat. Probably because he also felt diaphragmatic. But I didn't agree. This restaurant serves crimson roses with dinner. Isn't that a coincidence? The waitress who first brought the crimson roses to Xavier and the waitress who is now bringing the crimson roses to Xavier are the same person. I could clearly see her entire body was stunned, and her face clearly said, How can this happen? I looked at the crimson roses that Xavier received, stuffed a chopstick into my mouth, and asked, This stuff, do we both still need it now? Xavier. After a long time, Xavier said. Emo. I interrupted him. Don't open your mouth and tell me these disgusting things while I'm eating. I'm afraid of throwing up. Sympathize with my stomach that has been pretty much destroyed all these years of bowing and refining for the company. Xavier. A flicker of guilt flashed across Xavier's face. The meal took 2 hours. For 2 hours, my mind ran at high speed, thinking about the divorce. I wasn't seriously ill and my brain wasn't broken. Forgive once. And there will be a next time. While there are no children, it can be a clean break. The property entanglement between us is the company's problem. The main company has nothing to do with me. The branch company, I am the shareholder. We did not do property notarization when we got the license. But the new marriage law will not allow me to take half of Xavier's property by virtue of a marriage license that is of no use. But I didn't realize that while I was thinking about the divorce, Xavier was thinking about the wedding in 7 days not to be affected. He said, Emo, I don't want to divorce you. I was stunned and asked, No divorce. The 3 of us together? At the wedding in 7 days. You'll hold me in your left hand and Lila in your right? I paused. I really feel like I look out of place with you guys who have no moral compass, because I have so little. Xavier. After a long time, I asked, When did you guys start over? Before we got our license. Or after we got our license? After a while. Xavier said, We didn't start over. So what are you now? Come to add some plants and fresh air to our lives? Xavier. Xavier's temper wasn't too good. After I said that, he was a bit angry, but he eventually held back and said, Emo, you're angry now. Let's calm down for 2 days before we talk about this. Okay, I agreed. Calm down for 2 days is also good. Now really angry. I'm afraid of what belongs to me to the angry forget. Will be misjudged to Xavier. On the way to the hotel, Xavier kept trying to argue with me, but probably there is no way to argue. Want to say a few times, and finally did not say anything. When we got to the hotel, he tried to get into a room with me. I looked at him. Xavier, you've known me for 7 years, right? You think I'd use something someone else has used? His temper, which had been tempered down due to the scene of his cheating arrest, finally erupted at this moment as well. Emo, can you watch your words a little bit? I laughed. This point really can't compare to Lila. Nothing need to help you do. Gentle smile to you. Waving at you. You're just like a dog. Even the bottom line of morality can be violated for her. In order to help the company to fight for the interests of what kind of sharp words I have not said? Xavier. I'm sorry. Emo. I slapped the door in front of him. As soon as the door closed, the tears that I had been trying to show off for hours fell down. The 7 years we walked together flashed in my mind like a flash. When we first met, he said, Isla, we're going to make the best team ever. When we drank too much together, he said, Emo, one day we won't need to drink with anyone else. When we first got together, he said, Emo, the longest confession is companionship. We'll be together for a lifetime. When we got married and got a license, he said, Emo, please teach me more in the rest of my life. Now, he ruined my expectations for 7 years. Tears fell, and only as an afterthought did I feel the suffocating pain in my chest. This pain involved every nerve of mine. as if it was going to strip me of my skin and pull out my tendons, emptying me of all my strength. And while I was crying uncontrollably, Lila sent a private message to my Twitter. Xavier has been reluctant to publicize our relationship. That tweet. Do you know under what kind of circumstances I coaxed him to post it? The thought that Xavier had rolled in bed with Lila after we got our license caused a sudden wave of acid reflux and nausea in my stomach. It eventually made me sick to my stomach, and threw up in the hospital. Stomach bug again. It's bad enough that I had to put myself in the hospital after coming to B-City, but I didn't think it could get any worse. After I was admitted to the hospital, Xavier accompanied me the whole time, even though I didn't want him to. In a sense of atonement, had silenced his cell phone, but his phone had been lighting up constantly, thinking it was a message from Lila on one of her other phones. After all, Xavier had stopped answering her calls and hadn't been there for her since I'd come to B-Town. He also deleted and blacked out all of Lilith's contact information in order to show his loyalty to me. So, on my third day at the hospital, I got another message from Lila. Isla, it's not like I'm trying to steal Xavier from you. All I want is just to fulfill the promise we made when we were young to travel together with Shin before your wedding. So why did you show up? If I really want to get back with Xavier, do you think you guys will still have a chance? Seeing that I didn't care about her. Half an hour later, she sent again. Isla, originally I didn't want to steal Xavier from you, but from now on, I will let you watch me. How to snatch Xavier from you step by step. She wasn't just saying that. A few minutes later, Xavier's cell phone lit up again. It just so happened that Xavier looked down, only glancing at the screen, and his face went pale with flesh. He, who had been by my side for the past few days and refused to go anywhere, stood up with a swish. I looked at him, and he sat back down again, saying, Emo, there's something urgent to take care of. I'll be right back. Okay, I knowingly asked. You won't go if I say no? Xavier said I'm sorry and eventually left. I got out of the hospital as fast as I could and went back to A-Town. In the past 3 days, I've thought things through. If you can't keep him, let him go. If you can't hold the sand, just let it go. As soon as I returned to City A, Sean, the partner of the branch company, approached me about work. Yes, I've always managed the branch company. When I think about it, Xavier was able to get back together with Lila, and am afraid that it happened because I was managing branch company. And after I was based at branch company, I was no longer around Xavier as often. But it doesn't matter. The fact that the two of them can get back together now only proves that both of them have the mind to get back together. Even if I keep Xavier on a leash, there's still a chance they'll get back together. After Sean and I finished talking about work, he said in passing, You're really a workaholic. The wedding is coming up and you're not going to prepare for it? The fact that Xavier and I canceled our wedding hasn't been released yet, but it was going to be canceled anyway, so I mentioned it to Sean in advance. The wedding is canceled. Sean looked up sharply. What's wrong? You've been with Mr. Xavier for so many years. Don't tell me you two broke up. So what if you've been with him for years? It can't be the first love's wave. I didn't want to show too much emotion in front of Sean. We are all partners. So, if we show too much emotion, it will affect the development of the company. I said, It just helps you save a sum of wedding gift money. Isn't it good? Sean was at a loss for words. He is not good at comforting people, And I know him well after knowing him for more than 4 years. I've known him for more than 4 years. And I know this. His classic saying is, relationship brain affects the speed of getting money. Ask him to comfort a girl who has been hurt in love, and he'll probably just say, relationship brain. That's what you deserve. Looking at his bemused face, I added, stop interfering with my work. And while you're at it, help the company talk to your dad about working on the next project. Sean. After Sean left, I had dinner with my parents and told them to cancel the wedding and ask them to notify their relatives who received invitations. My dad rolled up his sleeves and wanted to fly to B City to kill Xavier. And my mom cried. Luckily, my mom and dad really loved me, and even though they knew that canceling the wedding would be a joke among their relatives, they were adamant that the marriage had to go away. Xavier came back to A-Town one day later, and I slapped the divorce papers in front of him. But Xavier was still adamant that he was not willing to divorce. He even tried to convince me to continue the wedding. Mo. The day after tomorrow is the wedding day. Now we cancel the wedding. Lose the face of the two families. My parents are old. I interrupt him. Xavier. Face is a good thing. Don't use it as an ass. Xavier. Me. I've packed and mailed all of your stuff back to your old villa. And from now on, the door to this house. I hope you never come back in. Xavier. I don't know what Xavier told his parents when he got back. That night, his mom called me and persuaded me a bunch. After seeing my resolute attitude, she said, Mo, although this matter is Xavier's fault, but to cancel the wedding at this juncture, you've really done too much capriciousness. Besides, now that you are divorced from Xavier, can you find another one better than Xavier? What you have now, including the house you're living in now, is all given to you by Xavier, isn't it? I didn't want to dislike her, but if she wants to dislike me, I can't be blamed for being spiteful. Everything I have now, I earned it all by myself. The main company is the result of my hard work with Xavier, and the branch company is almost single-handedly made by me. So you don't have to pee me. I didn't give her a chance to interrupt and continued. If you think cheating can be forgiven and cheating and divorcing is just capricious, then I wish you the best of luck. And in the future, you'll have the chance to be with your husband's mistress and mistress's children and grandchildren for the 4th generation. She was so angry by my last sentence that she jumped to her feet and opened her mouth to curse. But I didn't listen to her finish cursing. After listening to her cursing, I didn't agree to your marriage in the first place. Now you still dare to give my family this kind of moth. I directly hung up the phone and pulled her into the blacklist, by the way. The reason she was not happy about me marrying Xavier in the first place is clear to me. I was too strong to go along with everything and disobeyed her. When the branch company was first established, she wanted to put her useless relatives into the management of the branch company, and Xavier couldn't turn her down. So she pushed me out. I refused. So, when Xavier and I were talking about marriage, she came to me alone and gave me a hard time. She told me that I must have a son in the future, and I asked her subtly, "What if it's not a son?" She said in a brash manner, "Then give birth until it's a son. What good is a woman if she can't even give birth to a son?" All the daughters-in-law who are bullied by their mothers-in-law after marriage have a common problem. That is, from the very beginning, they have lowered their stature. Obviously, other people have stepped on your head. You still try to treat her as your own mother. Therefore, in order to nip in the bud the idea of her trying to pin me down in the future. I said directly back to her, "Read more. Don't lose your face before you step into the circle of noble women." She told me to leave the company when I got married and stay home as a full-time wife. She said that if a woman is always working outside, those who don't know will think she is selling. Besides, who knows if I will have any messy relationship with someone after drinking because of the drinking game at work and cuckold her son. I laughed at her. In the past, women only wrapped their little feet, but you wrapped your little brain along with them. She complained to Xavier that I scolded her. I asked Xavier, "I scolded my mother-in-law before I entered the house. Am I out of my mind?" Xavier probably knew what was going on after hearing my rhetorical question. So, after we got the license, we lived in my luxury apartment. Not with his mom. It wasn't that Xavier was favoring me. He simply didn't want to deal with the conflict between me and his mom. Or maybe he knows very well that 10 moms are not enough to scold me and can't control me. I thought I could get an honorable divorce from Xavier. We're all human beings. There's no need to tear ourselves apart. However, it seems that I overestimated Xavier. Or rather, I never got to know Xavier after all these years. The day after I hacked his mother's phone, he wanted me to walk away empty-handed, along with the shares of the branch company, which he also wanted me to give up. There was also a clause attached that the luxury apartment in Central Plaza, which was awarded to me because of my performance, should be returned as well. After he finished, he added on the other end of the phone, "Mo. As long as you don't get divorced and the wedding continues tomorrow, we can renegotiate all of this." I do know why he doesn't want to divorce me. Once we divorced, the company's stock market would definitely be affected, and he would probably lose control of the branch company. After all, I built the branch company with my own hands, and he didn't have any control over it except for the initial investment. Moreover, we were planning to set up a second branch company. I was still in charge. He didn't want to lose me as his right-hand man. But for Xavier to say something like that, is he awake or does he think I'm awake? He also tried to brainwash me. Momo, in this circle, there are so many lovers, and even after marriage, they all live their own lives, but other people are not living their lives as well. I asked, "Do you mean that I should lower my moral standard and adopt a white boy?" He was silent. After a long time, he said, "I'll make a clean break with Lila." Double standard dog. He's afraid he won't be able to break up with Lila. A few days ago, he chose to leave me and go to Lila's place because Lila threatened to commit suicide with him. This suicide threat was also glorified by Lila. The copy on Weibo is also very nice and romantic. Missing you. I will never be able to love anyone else. As the saying goes, the child who can make trouble will have sugar to eat. But I backhandedly pulled the black. Read too much. Afraid of being infected into a masterpiece. The wedding didn't go ahead as planned. Of course. And Xavier only claimed that it was postponed. He did not agree to divorce by mutual consent. And I went straight to my lawyer and applied to the court for a file for divorce. He only completely panicked after I filed. He once again lowered his posture to find me. Mo. Just a moment of confusion. Lila was looking for me to get back together at that time. I drank a little bit of wine. So this ridiculous thing. I ignored him. Since then, he has been staging melodramatic scenes with me downstairs every now and then, making people scalp numb. Ironically, since ID blackmailed Lila, She couldn't keep me posted on her progress with Xavier, so she had to find other ways to get under my skin. So one time, when I was working late at night, Xavier came to wait for me and I saw lipstick on his collar. He couldn't even act out a melodramatic scene. So what good was he? I pointed to the lipstick mark on his collar and asked, "Is this what you meant by breaking up with Lila?" Xavier. Me. Xavier. Good riddance and don't come back to disgust me. You know, I never eat back. Half a month later, Xavier finally stopped. I think he went to fight with Lila. A few days later, I received a message from Lila. "Isla, why don't you go to hell?" I calmly mocked back. What? The death wish doesn't work anymore? Presumably, she didn't push Xavier to divorce me. She also approached me and asked me to meet her at the cafe downstairs, saying that she had something important to tell me. I didn't want to meet her. But on second thought, I do see the diversity of species. So I went to the appointment. She came to kill me. Xavier said that he and Lila would get back together. That it was the drinking. That Lila had plastered herself. But the truth is, the only reason Lila came back to A-Town over a year ago was because Xavier brought her back. Xavier traveled to her city over a year ago on business. Or Xavier got to her first. Her. You know what Xavier said when he approached me? She asked herself. Xavier said that not marrying me back then was the biggest regret of his life. If time could start over again, he would rather not have the riches and honor he has now than to come with me and marry me. She smiled very proudly. A money game was hard wrenched into love by her. I was already in a bad mood. And it got worse when I thought that Xavier had betrayed me for over a year. I couldn't let her laugh. So I asked her 3 questions. Is Xavier married to you now? If Xavier really loves you, why did he get a license from me? If you are really in love, why is Xavier still reluctant to divorce me until now? The smile on her face was lost by my question. I also asked myself, you want his money. He wants that bit of freshness for you that didn't dissipate back then. Or rather, the commotion of not getting it. A dog cannot see the affair. Sordid transactions can also be your dog called love. Dogs have to poo-poo it when they hear it. Lila. Lila was a little hysterical by my dislike. Isla, why can't you just leave Xavier alone? I looked at her askance. Being a mistress and being as righteous as you are is something I've only seen in my life. Don't provoke me again, or I'll make you lose your reputation. After thinking about it, I'm not relieved. I simply also kill her heart. Also, now it is Xavier after weighing the pros and cons. Think you have nothing barren use. Will only drag him down. Do not want to continue with you. He's coming after me, not me after him. Okay, if you're really so useful, please fix Xavier and get him to divorce me. I feel sick every day I don't get a divorce. Lila's face instantly turned pale. A loser who lives off of men. But in order to divorce Xavier faster, I was willing to offer her a shortcut. I said, if you have the time to come to me and suffer, you might as well think about how to please your future mother-in-law. After disliking Lila, I went out and met Sean. I don't know how long Sean had been listening to the conversation, but he said, how can you put up with this? Go up and directly slap her twice to make her realize the reality. I blanked Sean. I don't want to go to the police station. And if I do, it will be a big deal and affect the company's reputation. Sean nodded his head thoughtfully. That's right. The company can still have my share. Can't be so encouraged. Me. Sean must pull me together for lunch. In fact, for gossip. but also put up the identity of the company's shareholders. Said, "I think I have the right to know about this matter. You are the company's decision maker. In case you and Xavier's matter cannot be wrapped up, so that I can avoid the risk of divestment in advance. Me. He. You know, I only invested in the company because you're a workaholic and you're sure to make me money. My dad even told me not to get ripped off by a tiger and talked me out of it. Yes, Sean is a trust fund kid. A trust fund kid who just wants to do it on his own and not rely on his dad." What he said was also true. At that time, in order to get Sean to join the company, I had 3 drinks with him before I finally got him. It's been over a month now, and I really haven't said anything to anyone about what I did with Xavier and Lila. So I just spit it all out to Sean. Even Xavier's remark that this circle is full of bosses who keep lovers was also said. After Sean heard it, he really said, "Love brain kills people." What Xavier did. He doesn't intend to be a person anymore. Right? Isn't it obvious? If Xavier had any intention of being a human being, he would have let me go and divorced me long ago. If Xavier had any intention of being a man, he would have left me alone and divorced me long ago. And he definitely wouldn't have threatened me with a compromise. And he would have had the audacity to say something as stupid as asking me to walk away empty-handed when he knew that he and I were evenly matched. Sean saw me depressed and said, "Don't be PUA by him. What's wrong with this circle?" In this circle, there are scumbags, but there are also good guys. Because of my falling out with Xavier, even though neither of us made public the reason why the wedding didn't go ahead as planned, the company was inevitably affected. Just over a month later, the contracts of 3 of the main company's project partners expired, and there were no negotiations to renew them. Because I made those 3 partnerships, they were concerned about the subsequent changes to the company after we broke up. Businessmen are smart. So, Xavier came to me again. The first thing he said was, "Isla, even if we're getting divorced, you don't have to mess with the company, which was once your heart and soul." Me. What? Not to mention that I really didn't start the company. He seems to have forgotten that a month or so ago, he wanted me to walk away empty-handed, and that the main company's profit and loss has nothing to do with me. I looked at him with the eyes of a retard. "Have you been assimilated with dogs for a long time? You're barking at people?" Xavier has known me for 7 years. He still knows me more or less. Seeing me scold him so righteously, he knew I wasn't tripping him up before saying, "Isla, I'm sorry." And then he blathered a bunch of apologies and good words, with the sole purpose of letting me step in to renegotiate the renewal of several collaborations of main company. I slapped the divorce papers in front of him again. "Sign this. Get divorced, and you'll stop grossing me out. And I might think about it." Xavier probably knows that I have a personality that is vindictive. If he really divorced, not to mention to help him to negotiate cooperation, not to reestablish his own company, rob his company's business would be good. So, he refused again. But I know that he will soon come to me for a divorce on his own. A month at the most. Because I got another message from Lila, and it was still in the same provocative tone. "Isla, you won't be able to be cocky for a few days. I'm going to make sure Xavier divorces you." There was a reason she was so confident. She was pregnant and planning to use pregnancy to gain leverage. And she was really on top of her game to impress Xavier's mother. She's already a million times better than a tough-talking prick like me if she's willing to play the dowager to Xavier's mother and make her feel like a dowager. Now that she's also pregnant, Xavier's mother is even happier and already on her side. Thanks to her, she had finally done something right. As luck would have it, within half a month, Xavier came to see me about a divorce. But he was shameless enough to still want me to walk away empty-handed. He said, "Isla, you must divorce. Unless you walk away empty-handed. Otherwise, I will not agree to divorce. The only compensation I can make is that I will not take back the luxury apartment that Central Plaza used to give you." He said. He was also very considerate of me. "You also want to break cleanly with me. If you don't let out the shares of the branch company, we have to continue to be coupled together, don't we?" I looked at Xavier, who had a cold face and was negotiating with me, and at this moment, the love I had for him completely disappeared into thin air. I really never understood him. I looked at him once again with the eyes of a retard. "You passed by the donkey barn before you came to see me and messed with the donkeys?" There was hidden anger on his face. "Isla, me, didn't mess with the donkey. Why are you talking like your brain has just been kicked by a donkey?" He wanted to get angry. I preempted. "Xavier, from the time I knew you cheated to now, I have not said a word against you in front of the media, and I have not publicized the fact that you cheated on me, right? Do you think that if I want to break the net of fish death, we all lose face together to the Pacific Ocean? The news of your cheating opened to the media, main company before I signed down the contract. How much will be affected?" "Xavier," I scolded angrily. "How big your face are? Cheating still dare to ask me to walk away empty-handed?" The more I said, the angrier I got. So I simply said to him, "Let's get together and part ways. If you don't want to get together and part ways, we'll do it in the same way as we tore up our faces. Tomorrow I'll let the media issue a notice to make it known that you cheated on your mistress, got her pregnant, and now you want your wife, who started from nothing, to walk away empty-handed. Since you all don't want this face anymore, it's okay if I accompany you to lose a handful of faces." Xavier was a bit surprised. He probably thought I didn't know Lila was pregnant. If it wasn't for the fact that the divorce was taking so long and Xavier was dragging his feet, I wouldn't even want to see him. Disgusting. It's fucking divorce meets character. After a long month of extreme pulling, the marriage was finally divorced. After we divorced, I still sat in the branch company, and he was about afraid that I would try to kick him out of the branch company or do something against him. He branch company made a major reform. But also the previous I refused to his mom inserted people, to forced him to give me more obstacles, to mess with my mind, or rather to monitor me. After these still do not rest assured. Simply proposed to buy my hands branch company shares. It just so happens that I also want to throw away. I don't want to have anything to do with him anymore is the second thing. The main thing is that according to his way of doing this, the company will go downhill in no time. He will have to bear the consequences of his own death. I don't want to be involved in it. Moreover, Xavier and I were preparing for the establishment of the second branch company. Now, I want to do it myself. I asked for a price 3 times higher than the market price. Xavier bargained with me a few times because I asked for a huge amount, but he finally bit the bullet and agreed. I didn't do anything, but I secretly asked someone to analyze it for Lila. If Xavier and I continue to contact after the divorce because of the company's problems, the follow-up may be that she becomes mosquito blood, and I will instead stand in the position of the white moonlight. After all, it's what's lost and what you can't get that smells the best. She herself is a lesson from the past. And the child in her belly, brought by Xavier's mother to check the gender, was a son. Lila used the son to get angry with Xavier all day long. When I met with Xavier for company matters, she would make a fuss every time. Once she even quarreled with Xavier in the office and scolded him. If you really don't want to be involved with Isla anymore, why can't you make a clean break with her? Do you want to treat me the same way as you treated Isla before? Marry me and then continue to be entangled with Isla? Xavier scolds her. I'm already married to you. Can you stop being unreasonable? Lila countered with a reasonable question. But that's what you used to do, isn't it? TSK? Not bad for a mistress on top. Much more alert than me. She also got too excited, moved her fetus, and was hospitalized. Xavier could only accept my sitting duck for the sake of the baby in her belly. So, the 3rd month after the divorce, I took the money and withdrew from the branch company. After I withdrew from the branch company, in order to prepare for my own company, I was so busy that I didn't have time to pay attention to Xavier and Lila. But I didn't realize that in the 3rd month after I withdrew from the branch company, Sean also withdrew from the branch company. He came to me and said, I heard you're going to go solo. Count me in. I asked, why do you want to pull out even though you have money? The branch company has been managed quite well by me in the past 2 years. At least those shareholders have made back the money they invested in it in the past 2 years. Now I can continue to reap the benefits. Right? Sean, if you don't pull out now, when the company starts to lose money, will you lose money with them? Sean, you know why I don't partner with Love Brain and Madonna Disease to start a company? Because if you partner with these 2 types of people, the company will eventually be turned into a family-run business by these 2 types of people, stuffing a bunch of useless relatives into it. Man, I thought Xavier only put those useless relatives into the company just to give me a hard time, forcing me to dump my shares and give up the company. I didn't realize he was really out of his mind. Even Lilith's relatives were put in, and even squeezed out a few of my original management. Those 2 are really my great benefactors. I am because there is a little bit of moral bottom line. Regret that I used to bring out a few management cannot be taken together. She too this sent me over. 2 months later, my company officially started business. The first night of the company's official business, several shareholders and management dinner together. Sean himself strongly requested to join the shares, not to mention, but also pulled on his 3 trust fund good brothers. During the dinner, he pouted towards his 3 brothers, clinked his wine glass with my teacup and said, Isla, look, these are the good men I picked for you. All single. Brothers money. Milk or wolf. They're all single. All brotherly. All tits and all wolves. The corner of my mouth twitched, and I blanked him. He added, do not thank me. Really want to thank me. Work hard. So that I can lie at home can also be more money on it. I can really thank you. It's hard for you to be such a financial junkie who only wants to make money, but still take the time to care about my love life. He took it for granted. That's true. You are now my money tree. You have to remember, as long as you have money, your boyfriend is in kindergarten. He patted me on the shoulder again. Stay away from scummy mistresses, and life will be half as good. Come on. Hey, race to a better life to come. Me. Sean is right. Stay away from a scummy mistress and life will be half as good. For example, 2 years later, I was happily coming out of Central Plaza after negotiating with someone, when I bumped into Lila and Xavier arguing unhappily. I like to see what's going on. If I wasn't going to miss the melons, I'd go buy 2 bags of melons and watch the fun. I stopped and listened for a while. I probably figured out the whole story. Lilith's relative entered the company and used his own authority to embezzle, and the amount was quite large. Originally, Xavier did not know, because her relative wanted to use the next project to fill his own embezzlement. But in the end, the next project was cut off. Lilith's relative's embezzlement was not covered, and the story fell apart. Xavier went after the money, but Lilith's relative had already gambled with it and lost it. So Xavier sued Lilith's relative. Now, Lilith's relative is in jail, and that relative is Lilith's blood relative, her own uncle. Otherwise, Lila wouldn't be able to come to Xavier in public to scold her. When it comes to cruelty, no one can compare to Xavier. Therefore, Lila is now scolding Xavier for having no conscience and no human feelings. Xavier. Lila. I gave you face. Didn't I? How come you didn't say I have no conscience and no human feelings when you had all the heart in the world and even went so far as to lie to me and my mom about marrying me? Since I have no conscience and no human feelings, let's get a divorce and get the hell out of here as far as you can. Lila. Xavier let out his harsh words, but Lila didn't dare to open her mouth. It's also true that it was hard for her to squeeze me out and sit in Mrs. Xia's position. If she divorces easily, who will bear her high expenses? Xavier was able to make me walk away empty-handed in the first place, so he won't be lenient with her. She didn't have the confidence I did. I turned to Sean, who'd come to talk about the project, and asked, "Who's the cutoff man? I'm going to give him a gift. Today is to talk to Sean's father." He came out. His father in his face will also be much easier. So, bring him along. Sean. Isn't it you? The one where Mr. Wong personally came to you last month. In these 2 years. Because Xavier's company's previous cooperation is a lot of my talk. I do my own business. In order to revenge, Xavier betrayed me in the beginning, not counting, but also forced me out of the company's matter. I did not less rob his customers. In addition, Xavier changed the company many of my former management. So many of his company's former cooperation project contract expired, also by my management to dig up. Too many to remember. I was embarrassed. This. Well, go buy yourself a present today. Sean blackmailed me in passing. Remember to bring me one. I had planned to go out with my future girlfriend today. But you dragged me back to work. So I have to make up for it. Right? I laughed. I helped you push a blind date at home that you don't want to go. But you can still use it to blackmail me. Look at you. Sean. Life never stops at one image. It's a series. If you're paying attention. Within a month, I had a cold, and when I went to the hospital, I saw Lila and Xavier's mom tearing each other apart again. It's also true that Xavier called Lila out last time for having a heart of gold and lying to him and his mom. A little over a year ago, Lilith's baby was born. A daughter. Xia's mom doesn't scold people like Xavier, picking up whatever words are hard to hear. Xia's mom was furious. You can't even give birth to a son. What's the use? Get rid of that money loser in your belly. Good Lord. So she's pregnant again. And she's here to check the sex of the baby again. Lila probably suffered a lot of anger during this period of time and couldn't help herself. She fought back. You called your daughter a money loser. But aren't you a woman yourself? Who are you calling an old hag? Xia's mom immediately tore up with her. I'm calling you a little bitch. A slutty hoof. And a star of mourning. If it wasn't for you, why would my son divorce Isla and marry a criminal niece like you? Tell your family to pay back all the money your brother embezzled. Or I'll see you again. Lila was also not a light-hearted person. She hit the nail on the head. If you didn't want to be the queen mother, would you have agreed to Xavier divorcing Isla and marrying me so readily? You just couldn't scold Isla. Me. Listen to me. Thank you, guys. After 3 words of disagreement, Xia's mom simply got on with it. She snapped a slap on Lila's face with such force that Lila's face had 5 fingerprints on the spot. She also grabbed Lila's hair and continued to scold her while pulling her hair. A little slut who dares to talk back to me. Let's see if I don't beat you to death today. I had a physiological numbness. Then, I took out my cell phone, took pictures, and then backhanded them to call the police. My assistant is still the same cutie I used to have. She left Xavier Branch Company and followed me again. She is very clear about my love-hate relationship with Xavier. Dumbfounded at my operation, asked, Isla, sister. So good to see the fun and relieve the anger. You even call the police. Me. No need to thank me. Please call me Thunderbolt. Little assistant. I can thank you. Lay foam. I'm melon her out. You interrupted me. Hospital diagonally in front of the police station. Less than 5 minutes. The police arrived. The 2 people will be taken away in unison. After the 2 were taken away, the assistant sighed. Luckily you broke up with Mr. Xavier in the first place. Or, otherwise, I wouldn't have been the one who got beaten up today. Mr. Xia's mom dared to make a move on Lila. Firstly, Lila was currying favor with her from the very beginning, which gave her a sense of superiority. The second is that Lila doesn't have the courage to divorce Xavier and completely fall out with Xia's mom, which is obvious from the fact that she didn't dare to fight back even though Xia's mom made a move on her. The following day, a city worried about the tabloid reporter with no performance, and sent this matter out. The kind with pictures so high resolution you can see how much of Lilis Herze's mom has pulled. I supplied it. It was so that it became public knowledge that Xia's mom had beaten her daughter-in-law into the police station because her daughter-in-law's pregnancy test came back as a girl. I told her before, don't lose your face before you step into the circle of noble women. But you didn't listen to me. Give people to see such a big joke. This gossip came out. There are enthusiastic media friends and Lila know 3 to do 3, but also forced me to give way to the gossip also pulled out, rubbing the heat with the hair. The whole network scolded Lila deserved. Lila and Xavier together with the reputation of the ground. After scolding Lila and Xavier, the enthusiastic netizens gave me a congratulation. Congratulations to Isla for jumping out of this toxic mess in the first place. Me. Thank you guys. I didn't want you to see my jokes in the first place, but even after 2 years, you guys are still trying to give me jokes. As the saying goes, it's a long time coming. 2 more months. When Xavier's family was in a state of flux, the company also had a problem. The branch company had been reported for fraudulent accounting and tax evasion, and was investigated. From the moment I found out that Xavier had replaced my former management with his mom and Lilis relatives, I knew that he had made a big mistake. His branch company was going downhill. Plus, I still steal a few deals from him every now and then. But I didn't think it would happen so soon. Sean heard the news, patted his chest and said, "Fortunately, I had the foresight to pull out." From the moment he replaced the head of the company's finance department with his fucking niece, I had a feeling he wasn't going to do a fucking good job. I complimented him with little sincerity. "You're a real smartass." And Sean, with little sincerity, says back, "Same to you." But neither of us mentioned the whistleblower, pretending it was none of our business. After this incident, Xavier's branch company collapsed in a crash, and the main company was also implicated by the branch company and lost countless orders. I was able to snatch a few more of his clients and made a huge profit, even though Xavier saved the day by cleaning out his mom and Lilith's relatives from the company. And in order to save his reputation, he donated $5 million to the poor district. But it didn't help. The whole internet mocked him as a showman, and some keyboard warriors even asked, "Did you get this from tax evasion?" Xavier's main company is also going downhill. I suddenly remembered that many years ago, when I first accompanied Xavier to start his business, the company also experienced a crisis. There was a problem with the capital chain. Xavier was going to give up and find a new job, but I accompanied him to beg for help. During that time, we were either begging or on the way to begging, and I accompanied him to see the faces of others. After that difficult time, he said to me, Emo, it's good to have you. In the future, I have a mouthful of porridge to drink. Absolutely can't let you starve." But then, when he got bigger, not only did he not remember what he had said, but he also tried to swallow what originally belonged to me. There are some people who can only share the pain, not the sweetness. Xavier is one of those people. However, it's good that he and Lila have already shared the sweetness, and now they're sharing the bitterness to deepen their feelings for each other. Didn't Xavier tell Lila in the past that he would rather not have the current wealth and prosperity than to go with Lila and marry her? Although his company is starting to go downhill now, he is slowly realizing his promise to Lila. This wave. He is a real man. If he made a vow, he'll fulfill it. I have thought about it. If the two together begged me here, then I see in the two love than gold on the side. Reluctantly agreed. In the future, let's rob a little Sia's business. But it seems, Lila does not intend to share the pain with Xavier. In less than 6 months, they divorced. Lila went around telling people that she couldn't go on because of her evil mother-in-law, who forced her to abort her second child. The real reason was that Xavier's company was going out of business, and Lila didn't want to go into debt with Xavier without getting any benefits. And during their divorce, Lila had gotten rid of Xavier and climbed up to an older man who was richer than the current Xavier. I look at the freshly baked gossip, a little confused. This. I can only sigh a sentence. Green is a reincarnation. It makes sense. I told you they were a money game. They had to package it as love. Lila was after Xavier's money in the first place, and since it's all about the money, she's totally right to pick someone richer than Xavier while she's still young and beautiful. There's nothing wrong with that. I hope Xavier is okay. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be. Xavier wasn't okay. 3 months after Lila took him on, the company just couldn't keep going and had to declare bankruptcy. At this point, I had to admire Xavier. Even though Lila had betrayed him, he still didn't divorce Lila, because after they got married, they bought 2 suites in the name of husband and wife, and they will have to share one out in the event of a divorce. Therefore, after the bankruptcy liquidation is completed, he backed nearly $50 million of debt. There is a share of Lila, and that rich old man, in the first time dumped Lila, simply do not want to be the wrongdoer to help Lila pay the debt. I watched the news and sent them both a message. Scum mistress. Lock up. In the end, Xavier sold his Central Plaza home and 2 villas bought in their names, as well as several luxury cars in their names. To pay off the debt, he was back to his original form. Not exactly the same as he was when he started his business, only that there was no difference. No, there is a difference. He now has an old man and a young man, as well as a wife, or a middle-aged man. I wonder if he still has the courage to make a comeback. But I don't care anymore. His failure is not my handiwork. If he doesn't put his mom and Lilith's ill-intentioned and mediocre relatives into management, he won't be able to collapse even if I steal a few deals from him. I thought I'd never see Xavier again in my life, but it didn't work out that way. When Sean got married, I went to his wedding reception and met Xavier. Xavier was working as a junior executive at the hotel where Sean held his wedding reception. He doesn't seem to have the same courage as he did when he started his own business. I don't know how others feel when they see their ex-husbands again, but when I look at Xavier, who is still tired even though he is dressed in a suit, my heart doesn't fluctuate at all. It's like meeting a strange man. I didn't love him. I didn't hate him. Xavier looked at me for a long time, then stepped forward and said, Isla, I'm sorry for what happened. I smiled at him. No need to apologize. I was cheap. I didn't give you my blessing. I'll make it up to you now, and wish you and Lila a long and happy life together. Xavier's face turned green. His head seemed a little green too. But he's doing well for himself now. I add, now you can make up for the 9 to 5 grind corporate drone life you missed out on because you didn't marry Lila. No regrets. Xavier.